I haven't spoken about these videos in a long time. I've been focused on other issues, but these videos are not particularly hard to make. The Feeling the Hate video came about because Adam Horowitz of the website Mondo Ice asked me to just get a man on the street perspective in Jerusalem about Obama's Cairo speech, which was going to be the following day. And so I went out with my friend and working associate Joseph Dana into the streets of Jerusalem and just began asking people about what they thought about Obama. And this is what came up. I went down this narrow warren of seedy bars. I asked a bunch of guys who were mostly American what they thought. First of all, what flavor nargila were they smoking? And they told me it was my mother's pussy. And then I asked them about Obama, and then they, in the spiritual home of the Jewish people, I was confronted with Jewish kids acting like football hooligans and, some strange inversion of neo-Nazis. I actually, for the first time in all of my videos, feared for my safety just because they were so bellicose and vitriolic that I thought they could turn at any time on me. But they forgot I was even there and lining up to express their hatred. Most of them come from Long Island, and this was reported on the local news in New York. Everyone no matter where I go, anyone who's remotely interested in Israel or Palestine knows about this video. And I don't know what that says. That same Haaretz person who said that, this is the Haaretz journalist, Ben Hartman, who said it was an overnight internet sensation, also accused me of attempting to humiliate the Jewish people. Really what this video shows and the video in New York show, and all I'm trying to do is just show things. You don't see me standing there making any comment, is that Zionism has captured the heart of the Jewish diaspora, and it's placed the Jewish people, to the extent that such a people exist, in a moral freefall. And the more they seek to defend this enterprise, which is based on exclusivism and racism and the dispossession of an indigenous people, that does things to people that Jews have experienced themselves, the more they become warped, sort of like a portrait of Dorian Gray. If they could see themselves turned inside out in front of a mirror, that's what my videos would look like. And I just want to present Jews with this mirror reflection. Not all Jews, actually. Most Jews I know who are young, who are like me, are totally apathetic about it, if not disgusted by Israel, and they want to disengage. I want to encourage them to engage positively. And those people in these videos, let's say they're not Israeli. Okay, they're American Jews. They're not only consumed with racism and this disgusting maximalist, the tendency to support maximalist violence, but also a disgusting level of privilege. And I just want them to see themselves and to start to reflect. So after the Feeling the Hate video was published, it's been banned by YouTube, it's been removed from Vimeo. The Huffington Post, which now has more employees than the New York Times, thanks to my free work for them and the free slave labor of others, refused to publish it. And I started to realize who was behind this pressure campaign to get YouTube to take it down. It was mainly one woman named Leah Feld, whose son appeared in the video, and she sent me a letter asking me to voluntarily take it down because her son, who appears in the video, not only saying horribly racist things about Obama, but also invoking the Holocaust to justify everything he says, because the segregationist view of the Holocaust is constantly invoked to justify Zionism among American Jews. That he had to go into therapy and quit drinking. Oh no, he had to go. This is what happens when you see yourself. You have to change. And the mainstream media hasn't done it. The international media maybe is increasingly doing it, but all we hear about is Palestinian incitement and what's happening in Palestinian schools. We don't see the extremism that's latent and endemic to Western life, and Israel is the West's most severe image of itself. So we have to start looking at ourselves and start reflecting in order to start reforming not just our foreign policy or our domestic policy, but our very selves. And that's a process that to some degree I had to go through after going on the Birthright Israel trip. I had to start examining the conflict, examining why I was alienating all my friends by making these ridiculous arguments to justify Zionism. And after the invasion of Jenin, the flattening of Jenin, in which one bulldozer driver from the Israeli army named Moshe Nissim, who they called Kurdi Bear, said he was trying to build a stadium for the Palestinian refugees in Jenin, I could no longer justify it. It's not just these kids in bars in Jerusalem or, you can go at anywhere you want in Israel and interview someone and you can find just pathological racism against Arabs. It's a big part of the intellectual class in the United States. I mean, you take like a columnist like Richard Cohen at the Washington Post, who has, gone to great lengths to justify Israel attacking civilian targets in Lebanon in 2006. It's sort of like an attack on the Jewish mind, because if you believe in Zionism as part of your own identity, because you feel that your Jewish religion and your Jewish culture is falling away, and all you have to do is wave an Israeli flag to hold on to it. And you have a public voice, and you have a platform, and you're an opinion maker. You have to start to fit everything within a Procrustean bed to justify what Israel's doing. And it's increasingly impossible to create intellectual formulations that are convincing and devoid of obvious sophistry. And you just see that more and more with people like Jeffrey Goldberg and Richard Cohen and even Roger Cohen, who's a guy I respect from the New York Times. He's a liberal Zionist. He believes in two states. And when you see him speak publicly about it, it's just, he can hardly even justify the possibility of a two-state solution. And this is the situation I think Zionism's created. They've created an impossible situation with no way out, no clear solution. And it's thrown, obviously, in a physical sense, it's created a crisis for the Palestinian people. It's a crime against the Palestinian people. But for Jews, it's a tragedy. And I think right now we're at a time in history, a moral low point, lower than at any point in history. And so it's really going to be up to my generation and the next one to start to kind of come out of it, wake up a little bit.